Good morning. Happy Monday, everyone. How was your weekend? How is today going so far? Obviously, for me, it is just beginning, but so far I think things are pretty good. We have a way forward with the Asteroids game. I also got a new set of speakers for the desktop here, which means I don't have to wear my headphones to listen to the music or to hear computer audio, which is really nice. So it is one question that I have though is if you hear any like echoing from the music, let me know and I will like play around with the sensitivities. I'm not seeing anything coming through on the microphone from the audio, or at least at the same time, so I think it should be fine. But if not, let me know and we can play around with it. My other big announcement is I started working on the nature of code again, although I'm not doing it live on stream. So far, I've been creating the videos after work. And when I have time, I'm reading through the book, and I actually have a physical copy of the book like here on my desk. And then I'm creating the videos for all the examples and the exercises that are relevant. Probably not everything will get done because some of them are not necessarily like programming things, but for the ones that I can do, that's what we'll do. I also am not sure what we're going to do about the 3D stuff. I'll have to figure that out if I want to do them at all. All right, but with those out of the way, let's get going with today's programming. So where we left off yesterday, we have our asteroids. When we're destroying them, when we collide with the asteroids, the ship, we want to like insert the message of like, you died here, but we can't really do that. So we have to do that somewhere else. So I'm gonna just go ahead and delete this stuff. We create the ship debris, so everything should still work in here. Yep. I can press enter, we get our player, I can then fly around. I only have one asteroid right now. I'm thinking maybe like a leveling system. I died and therefore I get the debris and the ship disappears. Okay, perfect. So what I'm thinking is in our main library, we can have a lives left. So this actually should probably go into names. Names first, we want, oh, lives remaining. We already have that. Okay, well then perfect. Let's go find where we're adding resources and we want lives remaining. And I don't see us inserting that. Oh, right here, lives remaining 3. Perfect. So with 3 lives remaining, when I die, I can have a system here that's gonna be, let's see. You know what? I'm gonna also create a new folder and we're gonna slowly move things over into there. So I'm gonna have like a main folder. So that means in this mod, we're gonna have a pub mod main. And in main, we're gonna have a mod.rs. That should make you happy eventually. Yeah, I have to save first. And then in mod, we can start adding in like these other systems. I could just move all of these systems over into there. I'll do that eventually. Feels like a little loud. I'm gonna turn that music down. Okay. And main, I want. So what is this gonna be? This is gonna be like the handle respawn. Okay, so we're gonna have a pub mod handle respawn, pub function handle respawn system. All right, so we know we're gonna need to take in a mutable, a world, which is a mutable reference to a world. Then after that, I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna need. I might need the context. Go ahead and return an error result. But here's what I'm thinking. We're first gonna check the lives left, and then we're also gonna check to see if the player exists. So I guess that's the first thing we can check is, do we have a player? So if let some player ID, and I don't even know if I care about having this. I just want to make sure that we get it. So if let some player ID equals get player ID, we pass it in a reference to the world. We can question mark you, and now we have the player ID. We can return an okay here to make you happy also. And this now lets us know that the player exists. You know, I want the opposite. If let none. If the player does not exist, is none. Okay, so I can do if get player ID is none. All right, so that's gonna let me know that the player doesn't exist anymore. And so then I wanna check to see how many lives left do we have? And that's going to determine what message we're gonna display. And right now we already have like a basic message displaying. This could be, well, you know, we could have, there could be a lot of things we do for this. Let's see, we're gonna need to get that lives remaining though. So that wrapped lives remaining equal to, and I think I need to make you, I don't remember if I need to do that yet. Okay, so you're gonna be do world.getResource, pass in a reference to names. Lives remaining. Okay, that's going to give us an RC ref cell resource. So that's fine there. I'm going to need to cast this. That wrapped. No, this is no longer wrapped. That lives remaining is equal to. All right, so I want you to be a. So when I cast you, you become the actual thing. So I want you to be a, we can just make this, I think you're a U. What are you? You're a U32. Okay, so we're gonna dereference. The wrapped lives remaining, borrow, and then we're gonna cast. And that's gonna give us this lives remaining here. So then that's gonna change what the message is based upon, well, what we wanna do here. So if we have 3 lives remaining, so okay, we can actually do this message that we have up here, press enter to start the game. This could be a different insert message into the world, we probably want to move insert message into the world into a helper. I think I want to move this into a helper so that I could call this from the system. That being said, maybe I just want to take this, cut it out, throw that into U. And this is, we're actually not going to be handle respawn system. This is going to be handle message system. Then we'll have the insert message in the world. We take in the message. We take in the world, the screen size, and the context. We don't really need the screen size if we have the context because we could just get that ourselves. We need... Where were we even using it? Screen size, okay. Okay, so that should make you happy there. You do need to import all of these things. Now create message, we need to import that from helpers. Okay, all those things are imported in. Nice. And that means we can now test to see if we could get the message that we care about here. And that could be another function. So function gets message. We can actually match. Oh, we can match on this. Then it won't. Okay. Let's just do that here. We want to let message equal to. So if we have no player ID, we want to do match on the lives remaining. Okay, so if we have 3. If we have 3 lives remaining, we want to return, and you just need to be a stir, so that's gonna be fine here. We want you to be, press enter to start the game. If we have 2, you died. We'll just say 2 lives left. Press enter to respawn. Last life. Enter to respawn. And then if we have 0, game over. Now, because it's a U, we have to handle all these things. So if we get to this area, I think we want to just say, what happened? We should never get there. Okay, so we get our message, and then we should be able to call insert message in the world. We'll pass it in the message. We'll pass in a mutable resource to the world, and we'll pass it in the context. and then we'll just do that. So we'll need the context here. All right, that should be fine. All right, so back to library. We need to tell you to stop trying to do this. We don't even need the create player here because that gets created elsewhere. Let's see, and then we need to call that system in update. So this is the handle message system. We'll pass it in a mutable reference to the world. It's actually mutable reference to self.world. And then the context. Okay. I think that's all we need to do. That's we do have this error here. What's that saying? Cannot borrowed. World is mutable. You're mutable here. Or I could just do that because it's already okay. I can't double mute it. Let's try this. Oh, that's not fun. Interesting. So everything works except it got really slow sometime in here where we're doing our query. And is that because every single frame we're recreating this? Dota 2 Attitude, hello. Have I ever used Postgres? Yes. It's my preferred SQL database right now. I do like Postgres. That being said, I don't actively use it at work right now. How do I handle the connection pooling? I don't really worry about it too much. I've not really had big problems with that before. I think like, what is it? You get 20 by default? Is that what it is? I can't remember anymore. So I know if you use like the free Postgres ones, you get not very many. So I think I had that only one time, like that problem, and I think I solved it by caching. No, not caching. I think I did like an intermediary layer, like an API layer. And so I hit that API and then that one hit the database. And so like a little microservice to just manage that database. And I think that worked out for me that way. I've been using AWS recently at work, and they I've not been having the same problems anymore. I can get as many pools as I want, but of course I'm also using like Lambda functions, everything else to hit and manipulate that database, and they don't charge you as much when you're using AWS resources to hit AWS resources. So it's not a problem I run into anymore. There must be a service or something. I mean, possibly, yeah. Or you could just create like a little API wrapper to like wrap around the database. Either that, or maybe find out why you're using so many pools. So I saw one person who they every time their app restarted or every time like they got a thread of an app, it used another pool, and they just had to make sure they quit out. Well, like when they quit, it released all the pools because it wasn't doing that, which is unfortunate. So you can also check to see that you're actually releasing connections to the database, and then sometimes there's configurations where you can say, hey, only use like 10 pools, 10 connections. All right, so I think what's happening here is we're creating this message and inserting it into the frame, into the world. Oh, we've created like a million of these into the world. So we need to also check to see if there's a message in here. So if there is, probably here. So how do we do that? So we get this, and then we have to query for a message. So let query is equal to world.query. It's gonna be names. Message. Yeah, so that's the only suggestion I can think of just off the top of my head. If you use a analytics service like Datadog or what's the other really big one that like I forget the name of. Not Sentry, that's for errors. I forget what it is. But if you get some really good analytics, you might be able to find exactly what is causing all of your connections, and then you can make the decision, do I want these connections or do I not want them? But you at least know where they're coming from and why. All right, so that gives us our hash map. So then let's get messages equal to get string. Okay, so that gives us our vector of this, if we have one. So I don't want to continue on if we have one. So we're gonna do a little guard clause here. So if messages.length, if you're greater than 0, then return just we're good to go. Right, I forgot you need to be inside of Vec. Okay, so put you in there. And then you, what are you upset about? Oh, you're an option. That's right. So we have to unwrap, or I think there's a way to convert an option to an error too. But I forget what that is. Is it like okay or else? Sounds like a result. No, I didn't want to do that. Wait. Oh, that becomes a result. Then can I do that? No, because then it's still an option. Okay, never mind. I think there is a way to do it, and I forget what it is. But if I do that, that's not really any better than just doing an unwrap, I believe. Okay, so is empty. So basically we want the use not is empty. Messages is empty. That. and then return. And so this should be better performance for us because we're only going to create one message instead of, yeah, here we go. Our asteroid is not just going insane with us entering in thousands of entities. I guess it wouldn't be 1,000 because I am frame rate limiting this to 60 per second. And then we can go. Now, if I die, ooh, okay, that panicked at index out of bounds. The length is 2, but the index is 3. So when does that happen? That's in our bitmap line 34. For insert, when we insert the message, I don't see any other errors in there. So, okay, the length is 2. So we have 2 components. And let's also see what this name is. It's debug name. Okay, so we got all those. We'll get you, okay. Lots of things. So the last one was entity ID. The last one was entity ID. Interesting. Oh, so I see ticks to live, debris color, to be deleted, entity ID. Okay, so was that the new one? If I don't do that, for example, it's not going to work out very well. What I can do is come back into this handle respawn system, which we still need to rename. We named the method. Did we rename the method? Handle message system. Okay, so it is handle message system here. Let's do, okay, so what do I want to do here? I want to not insert the message into the world at this point in time. And I want to see if this still works or if it really is just that piece when I reinsert new. So we die. I hit return again. And that fails. Okay, so it's not, the problem isn't here. The problem is when I try to insert something, so it's going to crash automatically, but it's not necessarily the handle message system that's causing it. It's trying to insert something after again. That's what our problem is. So close all of you up. We're going back to BBECS. I have a sneaking suspicion that the problem is test function deleting. This is going to be inserting an entity after deleting. Should work. All right, so let's go ahead and recreate this problem here. We're going to create a new world. We're going to insert in, I don't even know what we need to insert in. Let's insert a simple component. So I wonder if I can just do like a world dot register, then you're going to be like a size. And we're going to do world.spawn entity with component size, and then data is like your 15 32. Okay, so you just have a single component there. Let's query for your ID just to make sure we know what you are. So let's query equals world dot query vec of size. Okay, so that gives me the vector sizes stuff out here. Then I want to we should have only one of them. That should be fine. We already have like querying as tests else otherwise. We should be able to get the first one here. So let's just grab you out specifically. So you're there. Okay, so your component data. I should be able to cast you also right here. So you're going to be a data wrapper of type F32. So you're going to be casted. Your reference. You have to be mutable. Oh, we also need the entity ID out. It's really just going to be ID. You're also a data wrapper. And I think you're a U32. Can I, for each of these, also dereference you? That. Let's see the ID. Unwrap. First one. Cast you. That. Okay. So now we have. Oh no, we can't do that. Can't move out of the shared reference. Oh, right, because we have to like borrow you and do all that fun stuff. So we can cast you Can't do that yet. That gives us the data wrapper. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we have a data wrapper with a F32. We can borrow that, and then we've got the data. I don't think we can do something like borrow here. I think we have to do this in two different types. So these are going to be a wrapped size. Going to be a wrapped ID. Okay, so let's get that ID out. Wrapped ID, borrow, and here's where we can dereference U, and that gives us our U32. Okay, perfect. I don't really care about you. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the world to delete. So world.delete by ID, hand it the ID. Okay, so then I want to insert something back in again. So we're going to do a world.spawn entity with component. Let's give it a size back again. And this time, instead of a 15, we're going to do a 30. We can do this entire query back again. So we do our query again for the exact same things. We get a wrapped ID and a wrapped size. I do care about these now. I don't know if I necessarily care about the wrapped ID. Maybe we should store this. Oh, we have the original ID here. We still have that. Okay, perfect. This is gonna be the other ID. All right, so I think we can do some asserts now. Want to assert equal that the ID is equal to a dereferenced wrapped ID dot borrow. And I also want to assert equal that our wrap, so it's a dereferenced wrapped size. Borrow, you're equal to 30.0. And we'll turn, yeah, you're allowed to do that. We'll do, what is it? Allow floats compare. All right, so let's run you and see if we can get our crash. We can. Inserting an entity after this should work. Okay, so here is that. Panicked at assertion failed. Left equals right. Left is 15, right is 30. Really? So it didn't delete. Although, you know what? That's my fault. That is my fault. Because after I delete by ID, I have to do a world update. I forgot that. I need to do a world update, and then this can run. Okay, here we go. Panicked at index out of bounds. The length is 1, but the index is 1. Okay, so we have an idea of what we want to have happen, but I'm not exactly sure what is exactly happening, but we'll figure that out. So if we come back to our map of like what we're doing, I'm gonna just start this over down here. So we get 3 entities, or 3 components for each entity right now. All right, so you become an ID, you are our size, and you are our deleted. So to begin with, you should get something like 1. You should get 15, and you should get false. And then you are going to be our entity. Okay, so then we delete you by ID. So you should be fully removed. Should be just fully removed. And then we should get another one here. So which means that you should be index 0, but then you should also be index 0. Because this gets deleted and shifted over to the left. And this is the bitmap, by the way. However, this should be the exact same for both. So we have our entity. You should be, however, index 2. You should be size 30. And you should be deleted false. So for some reason, the length is 1, but the index is 1. The index is 1. We want the index to be 0, but there's one thing in here. What is in there? Let's head into the bitmap. For insert here, I want to just debug reference to self dot entity map. Let's take a look at what we have going on here. All right, so this is when we insert. We can do that right here. Okay, so running one test, self-entity map. This is the last one before it gets deleted. We just have false in all of these. We haven't removed it at all. Well, this is interesting. So in U, now this is running every time we insert something in. Which I think, okay, that's happening when we do like our register, I believe. When we spawn an entity with a component, it's sort of adding these things in, which is why we're seeing this like true, false, true. We can see them slowly become false, false, false. False, false, true. They should all eventually, they're all false, false, false. False, 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 huh? Because when we spawn an entity, we push false in for everything. So we everything in there. When we delete, we are attempting to remove the entity index. Okay. Let's head into the world. So yeah, we have this delete by ID, which is getting us like the to be deleted. And that's fine. And then we're gonna have an update. Now we have self.bitmap, delete entities by index. We pass it the bitmap indexes to delete, which is a vector. Okay, so to be deleted query. Okay, so we do query results to get deleted. Okay. By index, okay. Okay, so to be deleted, we get that a boolean, we cast it. Get you in here. Okay, so if to be deleted, if this is true, we push in the index. And we take those and tell the bitmap to calculate the component indexes to delete. And then we say, okay, bitmap indexes to delete, which we push these indexes in. So delete entities by index. I think I want to do a debug here of two things. I want to debug self.entity map and then also reference to the entity indexes. Like what are we supposed to be deleting? And then I think I have that other debug around. Let's remove you. Okay, so here's our bitmap when we're going to be deleted. To be deleted, we have okay, so we have all of these entities exist, and we're deleting index of 0. Okay, that seems fine. Now we reach the end here, and entity map should now show nothing inside. Let's double check that. Okay, yeah, size to be deleted, entity ID have nothing inside of them, and all right. So that is good. So deleting did actually remove that. What is this length though? Where am I using that? Oh, I'm just seeing these blue here, not actually seeing, okay, length is up here, is being used. Okay, so length is 0. When we spawn an entity, a length plus equals to 1. When we insert length, it's -1, query. Oh, am I forgetting to delete you? So do I need to do a self.length minus equals to 1 here? Am I forgetting to do that? I think so. So now back to you. Now it works. Okay, and so that means if we cargo run you, attempt to subtract with overflow, bitmap 87. Am I deleting something right away? If we could do a check, so if self.length is greater than 0, then self.length minus equals to 1. Am I deleting something just immediately? Well, that's interesting. Wait, okay. This line here, this causes that to have then we have, okay, so we have that normal problem there when it tries to insert again. Interesting. So we want self.length to minus equals to 1. Is there like any update? I don't see an update here. So we know, okay, this is a hash map. On debug self.length. So when we run this, we see what is constantly being deleted. Like we're calling delete constantly on something when we're running the game. If I panic, can I get a do I get, what is it called, a let's see, can I do this? Panic. I don't really care about that. Okay, so that gives me panicked here. Okay, I need a backtrace. And then, oh, I forgot how to set this. It's something like $, backtrace equals 1. It's like set. Oh, I forgot. Let's do this. What is it called? It's PowerShell environment variable. That's to set it. Oh, Epic Blarg, thank you. env rest backtrace equals 1. So I didn't even have this symbol right. It's $v rest backtrace equals 1. Can I use the... Okay, yeah, okay. Do that. Then we'll run our game again. Okay, so we know it's... Okay, so we panicked here. We know it panicked at the bitmap. We know that it ran update. So, oh, okay. So I need to make sure that we only do this. If we remove that. So if we remove then, that's when we do self, not here. We need to make sure, so we're calling delete entities by index every single frame. I need to make sure that we're only removing the index when we delete stuff, not just every single frame, which is what happened. Okay, so we reverse these indexes, for components. Oh, you know what I can do is get the length of this. We can say self dot length minus equals to entity indexes dot length. There, that should never underflow. Hopefully. Now we can come around, we can die again. And we can restart over and over and over again. All right, okay. Now, before I forget, because that was a pretty good one, under... Where do I want to put it? It's maybe programming. It's not necessarily game dev. Maybe it is. Maybe it's also under like systems administration type stuff. We want something like setting up environment variables. I guess this might be its own thing. Okay, so for Windows, PowerShell. That is $env colon the name, so environment variable equals value. Okay. I think I put this under you. I like the fact that it moves home, not into the center. I like that to be in the center, please. And there we go. Environment variables now outside of systems administration. Nice. Okay, so that's what we needed to do. If we come back into our app again, what's the big thing here? When we die, so when we collide with the asteroid, we should also remove a life here. So I think we do need to handle life lost. So let's just update this right now, because I'm not, if I do it like in its own system, I'm not sure how to properly, like we delete the player. But if we don't have a player, then I might be like constantly removing that. Yeah, I don't know how to deal with that. So right now we're just gonna do a we can have a function maybe that does that here. So we'll have a function remove player life, which I'm not super happy about doing right here. I think the best way to do it would be to have some kind of like messaging system or event handling system to like send an event for it. And then that deals with it instead of doing some kind of weird something else. And then that way the delete by ID and the create ship debris and all that stuff would happen at that time. But okay, so remove player life. We're gonna need the world like that. I don't think I need anything else here. We're gonna have to get a wrapped player lives left. Okay, so get resource. Okay, you're gonna be our player lives left. Lives remaining. Okay, that gives us this RC. Okay, so that's a wrapped player lives left. Then I want to borrow you. Don't know if I can borrow you right now. Borrowed player lives left. Players live left. Borrow. Okay, so I have the ref and resources. Resource. I should be able to cast that now. Oh, I want to borrow mute you. So that way I can cast mute. So player left is equal to borrowed player lives left. Cast mute. We need to tell you exactly what you are. You're going to be a reference to an U32. Then I want to say dereference players live left minus equals 1. And we'll call you inside of here. What are you upset about? Cannot assign players live left, which is behind a reference. Oh, mute. Okay, then we remove player life, pass it in the world. Oh, we're in a for each, so we can't do that here. Okay. Can we now run you? Okay, so press enter to start the game. Start the game, let's just go and die. 2 lives left. Press enter to respawn. Last life, press enter to respawn. Oh. Yeah, it's kind of important to respawn only when there's not an asteroid right over where you would spawn. Okay, so then game over. Now I can still create my player, and then that should crash. So what I want to do is when we spawn the player, which I think happens in the main library. Yeah, down here in the key down event, we need the lives left here too. So if there's no player ID and we don't have any players left. So if you're an is none, we have to unwrap you and then do commit is none. And you'll be happy here, but then oh, you can be collapsed. Okay, so it wants me to rewrite this. Oh, right, because you want me to be this, and key code is this. Okay, and then I also want to grab the lives left, because if we've pressed this and the lives left is above 0, then we can go ahead and create the player. So up here we need to get the lives left. So let the wrapped lives remaining equals self.world get resource names lives remaining to string that unwrap you. Now we have a reference to, can I single line this? We then want to borrow you right away. I don't need to own you. I just need to borrow you. Then we can cast you. This is really borrowed. Bear Cool, hello, good morning. Okay, so then lives remaining is going to be a type of a reference to a U32 equals the borrowed lives remaining dot cast. And then we can do another and here. And lives remaining is greater than 0. Cannot borrow self.world as immutable because it's also borrowed as immutable. Let's go ahead and drop. Let's see, where is this? Borrowed lives remaining. We have the lives remaining here, and then we want to drop the borrowed lives remaining. Cannot. Let's go ahead and dereference you, which will copy you out. And then I don't need you there. Expected a reference to a U32? Oh, right, because you're that. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so press enter to start the game. We start, here we go, we can fly around happily. We then die. 2 lives left. Die, last life. Come on. Game over. I can't hit return. It won't let me start the game over. I have to quit. Perfect. So then we can do something like game over score is 50, or we can have like a UI element that like displays the score or something else. I might end up doing that later, but for right now, I think we're good, because this makes this like gives us our life system. So now we can start working on actual gameplay, which would be firing bullets. So now we can add a bullet. And let's go ahead and take care of some of these warnings though. So writing a reference to a vector of a reference of component data. Okay, so get player index. You don't like these. Oh, because you don't want a vector like that. You want me to just say this. All right, we're not using either of these anymore. We're not using data or that create message. Okay, so self world, you don't need to be a mutable reference. And you don't know what this weird underscore key mods word is. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and I was hoping you'd be able to tell me. Okay. Don't need you. Don't need you. Unknown word. Workspace. Okay. No more errors. We could run you just fine. Excellent. Okay, so if I wanted to start making a bullet, what would that end up looking like? Now it is 8:13. I don't know if I have time for it, but we can start planning out what that might look like. A bullet is going to be an entity with a circle. So if I wanted to start like creating the mesh for it, so create bullets mesh. I don't know if bullet is the right word for it either. We can have a hub function, create bullet mesh. I know that I'm going to need a context. I also know that we're going to return a... In this case, we should probably return a game result with a mesh inside. And I don't know if I care about the size of it. So I could do something like return a mesh builder, new circle, do a draw. Draw mode fill. Point, this is going to be 0, 0. Radius, let's do like 2.0, nice and small. Tolerance 1, and color then we'll build and return. And that should give us, oh, we need to tell you what you are. That should give us a bullet mesh. So we should be able to import this in. We'll probably need, like, whenever we fire, so this can be something like the spacebar event. When we fire, create the bullet, give it a velocity of where we're facing, and just put it into the world at the location of the ship. That's probably going to happen in here. We might have like a helper to deal with that, so that way in key down event, this is now going to be a little bit overloaded. I might want to like extract this also out into a helper function, like somewhere else, because this is like it's not that many lives if we remove lives. Not that many lines if we remove like all these chaining and just like make that, hey, this is one line essentially. We're not doing too terribly much, but we should probably extract this out into its own function somewhere else, and then we can basically say, hey, if we're doing this, then do this thing. Otherwise, do like fire the bullet. So that way we can do, when we hit spacebar, fire the bullet. But as I said, it is after 8:15, so I'm going to go ahead and wind down. I'm going to end the YouTube video at this moment. So next time, watch the YouTube video for the next thing. My outros are bad right now. I need to figure out a new outro. So